Reporting from Syria. Russian authorities have confirmed reports of a spike in radioactivity in the air over the Ural Mountains. The suspected culprit, a nuclear fuel processing plant. The Russians, though, deny that part. They say it's all safe. However, the readings suggest otherwise.
It's here in the southern Ural Mountains that radioactive materials have been detected in the air. Russia's Meteorological Services has confirmed it discovered the spike of ruthenium-106 in late September. The isotope is produced at nuclear plants. The concentration was highest in the Chelyabinsk region near the Mayak facility, which reprocesses nuclear fuel and produces radioactive materials for industrial and research purposes. It's also the site of two of Russia's biggest radioactive accidents. Environmentalists say the facility has a poor track record.
Back in 2005, there was a court case locally, and it was proven by the court that Mayak is releasing radioactive waste, well, at least until 2005, when they were saying they stopped a long time ago. So we believe they do release radioactive waste, they just call it differently.
Moscow has denied being the source of the leak. Meanwhile, the radioactive wave is making its way towards southern Europe. France's Nuclear Safety Agency first detected the elevated isotope levels in the air earlier this month. Since the nuclear disaster at Chernobyl 30 years ago, Europe has been keeping a close eye on Russia's nuclear facilities.
For more, we're pleased to welcome Jean-Christophe GARIEL. He's the Director of Health at the French Institute of Nuclear Safety. Thank you for being with us here on France 24.
Thank you.
It was the French who called the Russians and said, hey, what's going on?
No, in fact, that it did not happen like that. We detected ruthenium in Europe starting at the end of September. It was in Italy, and then it was observed in many countries across Europe. And the first question was, does it pose a problem for health? And rapidly, we made the conclusion that there was no health problem and no environment problems. And
for Western Europe?
In Western Europe, yeah. Correct. And then the second question was, where does it come from? And that's the work that we perform in our institute, asking the question, what can we do with the data and with our models? So taking into account meteorological conditions, data that were observed, and simulation, we were able to define a large zone where we thought that we could have a release. And it was a large zone located in southern Russia.
The Russians deny that it's this fuel reprocessing plant that's to blame. Have they given you an explanation?
We had the explanation with our Russian colleagues about 3 weeks ago, and we showed them our calculation, and they said, okay, these are very correct calculation. We agree with this calculation. But on the other hand, we have no explanation. We have no report of any incident or accident in our nuclear facilities.
So what do the readings tell you? What happened judging by the readings? What is your guess?
So from our investigation, we think that there is a source in southern Russia, but we determine a very large zone, several hundred kilometers long, several hundred kilometers large, and at this stage we do not know exactly where it happened. Recently we had new data from meteorological agency in Russia, and what was observed there is they detected ruthenium at a given level, which was not too different from what was observed in Eastern Europe. And these data were obtained not so far from Mayak, a few tens of kilometers from Mayak. That's what we know right now.
Jean-Christophe GARIEL, it's been more than 3 decades since Chernobyl, the meltdown of the nuclear reactor there, and the safety failures that happened, listed as one of the reasons that brought down the Soviet Union. And would you say that today things have changed drastically, or is the former Soviet Union the way it was?
I think it's very difficult to answer to this question. We have facts, and these facts say that we observe ruthenium concentration first in Russia. So something happened somewhere. On the other hand, we have Rosatom, which is in charge of the nuclear facilities in Russia, that say nothing happened in our facilities. These are the facts. So at this stage, I can't say more than that.
All right, Jean-Christophe GARIEL, I want to thank you. Jean-Christophe GARIEL, Director of Health at the French Institute of Nuclear Safety.
Thank you.